to Hannover Messe.
Good to be back.
Let's take a seat on the sofa of wisdom.
Oh my.
Yes, that's how we call it, because it's always smart and clever people who know how to innovate, who know how to use the right technology.
Well, here we go.
Great you're taking the time to dive a bit deeper in our joint activities. Why don't you just quickly introduce yourself so our audience here knows who's who and which fields are you in?
Thanks, Christina. My name is Rob Smith. I'm the CEO at Kion, the supply chain solutions company.
Hi, together. My name is Christina Wagner. I'm CTO, so Chief Technology Officer and Chief Digital Officer at OHB, which is a space company.
Very good. And as you can see on the screen, so well done, my name is Peter, and I'm looking after technology at Siemens.
And strategy, and a lot more.
And many more.
Yes, and you brought this round here together, Peter, and at a first glance, it's quite an unusual combination of companies. We got Siemens as a strong leading tech company. We got Kion, a champion in supply chain and logistics. And then we go on space. In aerospace, we got OHB, a pioneer of space and technology. What brings you together?
Well, for one, these are great partners, and we're going to get there in a second. It's all about trust. And we know each other for a longer time, and so we together want to master the big challenges all of us are facing. And no matter if you are Kion, if you are OHB, if you are Siemens, we all have the same challenges. Obviously, geopolitics is a big issue right now. Everybody's facing with uncertainties in the supply chain. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Then we have a demographic change. We don't find enough people. Skilled labor is really, there's a massive shortage around it. There's the quest for being more resilient and more resourceful when it comes down to also sustainability and energy efficiency. So we all face the same challenges. And what we said clearly is what we have to address those challenges is with technology. We're going to solve it by being not working harder, but by being smarter, by having access to all the data, all the knowledge that is out there. And I think this is what unites us. We want to be successful in the respective industries, and we want to do this smarter.
Mm-hmm. That's a great approach, but that's probably much easier said than done. But let's dive deeper into the topic now. Christina, I'm focusing on you now. Where do you see industrial AI having the biggest impact in industry?
So look, for us at OHB, industrial AI is a catalyst for actually two major areas. So the first one is accelerating engineering lifecycle. And then the second one is actually to strengthen mission operations. So our satellite or space systems, and especially the satellite constellations, they are getting more and more complex. And yet the request is to deliver much faster than ever, to develop much faster than ever. And this gives quite a stretch for us. So when you consider the past, development times that once spent above many years are now requested to be solved super quickly. And as Peter mentioned, this is not purely from an economic point of view. The reason for that is also that we have some geopolitical interests that we need to master. And then here AI comes in. So AI helps us to condense engineering cycles. For instance, take engineering changes. So things which in the past took us like weeks are now condensed to days, sometimes even just hours. And at the same time with digitalization, you can improve traceability. You also reduce efforts in simulation, in testing. You reduce also human error, and that is critical. It's critical because time is not only the economic factor, but it's also a matter of technological sovereignty. Mm-hmm. And then once the satellite is deployed to the orbit, AI comes in again because it helps us to actually operate mission control autonomously on the one hand side, and then on the other hand side, it also helps us actually to find anomalies, which is also essential. So we clearly see that the future in space is actually AI-driven and software-defined. So in the end, or in short, let's say AI helps us to develop faster, to operate more secure, and also helps us to stay ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And maybe because, space is a super document-heavy industry by nature. So let me end with a bit of lighter note. So there used to be this joke that if NASA would have printed all the Apollo documents and stacked those, you could build some stairs up to the moon. and I'm super convinced that now with Artemis, you would even need high-speed escalators, right? And it is the AI that helps us to keep moving through the sheer complexity and volume fast enough.
Okay, nice example here. Actually, I'm pretty glad that there is a lot of AI involved already in sending those satellites up there. But you definitely, and here we come back to Peter again, you need to have trust that what you have more or less accomplished in regards of how you do that this is a safe thing. Now, Rob, let me come to you. Where there is challenges, there is also opportunities. Where do you see the greatest of both in regards of industrial AI help address at Kion?
Oh, thank you, Christina. Let me just start by saying how excited I am. We're announcing our Siemens and Kion partnership here. A strategic partnership connecting the real world and the digital world. And bringing that together in physical and digital twins is a very exciting solution to some very significant challenges in the supply chain. By design, everything is always in motion in the supply chain all the time, and things are always changing. And today's supply chains are more complex and they're more vulnerable than ever. And to make them future-proof, we need to make them very resilient. We need to make them flexible. This means we need to design optionality and agility and being able to operate and optimize that in real time. And the answer is a digital twin. The answer is bringing a physical twin and a digital twin to work together such that you can design the next supply chain node in the digital twin, all the mechatronics, all the software. You can simulate, you can emulate, you can validate the solution before you even build it. The digital twin becomes the blueprint to construct the physical twin, and then becomes the brain that operates the physical twin, thinking faster than real time, and then instructing all the actors in the supply chain, people, humans, humanoids, robots, AMRs, automation, what's the next optimal step? That's what physical AI, industrial AI can do for the supply chain. That's what we're doing for the supply chain. We've got, and the real time is real impact, right? We've got an autonomous truck running in a full large-scale 3PL facility, recognizing what's going on, running logistical missions, operating safely amongst humans and other machines there. And with the work we're doing on the solutioning suite, we'll be able to bring that large scale across the supply chain.
Wow, so you're thinking of a fleet.
I'm talking about in all the four walls and up and down the four walls, the whole supply chain being optimized all the time with digital twins.
Wow, very visionary. And you definitely sound like you take it serious to be a good companion with the digital twin, that's for sure. Now, Peter, all of that sounds promising, what we just have heard. So what is still holding industrial AI back from scaling faster?
Yeah, so first off, we love partners that have really big challenges and big dreams and aspirations, as Christina and Rob both indicated. So building something in space, really revolutionizing the supply chain. What you need for that is intelligence, it's being smarter, it's the data. And this is why the session of this year about how do we build data ecosystems. The big difference to all the discussions we have on Gen AI and about large language models is that while we have large language models that are more for consumers, they are based on language, as the name would indicate, large language models. And that language usually you find on the internet. And so those language models are being trained on all the available material that has been published on the internet. In industry, can you imagine OHB now going out and saying, this is my latest design for my satellite constellation up there, and publishes it on the internet with all the 3D designs and all the manufacturing data and all the documentation? Certainly not. Rob wouldn't do that either for his solutions, of course. And so the big difference in industry is the data challenge of how do you now collect data that's coming from production, from engineering, from design, and now build the next generation frontier models that we want to apply in the physical world. And the only way to do this is by building open data ecosystems. And that's why it's so great to have also now Rob and Christina sitting here, where we have these partnerships now, where we clearly said, okay, let's exchange data where everybody brings their domain expertise and the right set of data together, where we as Siemens then can help to bring this together in a way where we encapsulate that knowledge and that domain know-how into models that then can be scaled universally. And that's the trick, because none of us can do it alone. Nobody. Siemens can't. Yes, we produce trains, substations, and so on, but we don't have enough data. OHB doesn't have enough data, and also Kion doesn't have enough data. But together, we're getting a step there. And in addition, of course, we can apply all the great AI experts that we have, build a model around it, make sure no IP is being violated. This is the key thing. And then start to scale it. That's the only way how to do it.
Seems like you have a clear path in mind how to do it. And we're honored that Kion definitely joined this data partnership with us. How come that you decided for joining it so early? I mean, this is just I'm not saying a test phase, but you're always like in pole position when it comes to new technologies, or was it the one because of Siemens as a trusted partner?
Thank you. There's a lot of trust involved, and there's a common vision. There's a shared vision of connecting the digital world and the physical world and bringing AI into industry using the industrial foundation model. And our view is that accelerates engineering design, the engineering itself, the implementation, the manufacturing. Being able to do that is, as Peter rightly said, great industrial companies need a great foundation for doing all that work. That foundation is the data. You need great data, but your company doesn't by itself have all the data. And when you can partner with companies that you trust, that see that same vision, it makes a very exciting first mover advantage for our company and our industry, partnering with great partners on this project.
Pole position for Kion here, definitely. Now, Christina, thinking of OHB and thinking of aerospace, it's highly, highly sensitive data, which you definitely don't want to unveil if you don't know to whom. What made this data collaboration worth pursuing, and why did you choose to go with Siemens?
So, for sure, there is a certain urgency for us currently because, as mentioned before, like time to orbit is like the new KPI we need to deliver on, and this can, of course, only be done also with excellent technology and tooling in engineering and production, and for that, you mentioned the sensitivity of data. So I believe that space data is one of the most sensitive industrial data because it's mission critical, it's security relevant, and most likely it's highly proprietary. So this is quite a challenging mix. And of course, a partnership needs to guarantee from the beginning. So there's a very high bar when it comes to trust, protection, and also governance. And that is why we choose to join very early, because we want to be part of shaping the rules, not only follow them, okay? And I believe that if Europe, with a company like Siemens, want to lead in industrial AI, it's also companies like ours who help to shape those operating rules. For us, it was pretty sort of natural to choose Siemens, to be honest. And there are certain key drivers, I would say. So the first one is that it is like by design, it's a trusted solution and platform, because the data is sovereign and it is also protected. Then another aspect is that we clearly see Siemens does have the appropriate domain expertise. So Siemens does understand how complex engineering, verification, and operation works, also for critical systems. We also see this huge potential of this bright ecosystem, actually, where, of course, space can also participate from information across industries, sometimes industries which are also innovating faster than us. And last but not least, and maybe this is even the strongest argument, is the cultural fit. The cultural fit because of the high expectation on quality and also the heritage of engineering excellence, which makes for us the collaboration sort of natural.
That sounds great, and definitely Siemens knows how to innovate since 176 years. We have a good expertise in that, definitely, and passionate people working on that. Now, Peter, if collaborations like this are so successful, what is the avenue of the future going to look like, where we're going to be taken to?
Yeah, there's this great quote that says, the future's already there, it's just unevenly distributed. Right? And I think Christina, Rob, both of them, they will bring the future here and make it uneven, so that indeed they have, in their respective industries, an unfair advantage because they moved early. And what we're showing here at Hannover Messe is the first that you can see where this is going to take us. It's the Eigen engineering agent, which helps actually industrial automation to scale faster, because you have to program them, and today you don't find the programmers anymore as much, and so we can significantly accelerate that in terms of quality and time. And so this is where industrial AI comes already into play, where we can show it's trustworthy, it's secure, it's reliable. And now we just optimized this one step of programming a machine. But then we said, well, but then it's piecemeal. Then you have all these many steps. If you think about from designing a satellite or designing a forklift or an AMR, but what we want to do is the design, the engineering, the production, the operations, the maintenance thereof, what we call the digital threads, so that you actually can optimize it with one shot and really make that work. This is what Rob was already alluding to, is what we call the industrial foundation model. So the industrial foundation model thinks about end-to-end. It thinks about, okay, if I have to engineer and design a piece, I already can do it simultaneously. Where I think about material properties, where I think about the layout and the design of it, where I think about how to manufacture it, so that I can optimize it in one shot. And this is why it's so critical, because you need to have all these data from engineering and from manufacturing and from operations, and you only can do this in these partnerships. And this is why I wholeheartedly believe we in Europe, we do have a big advantage in the world, and that is because of the domain knowledge that we have. And so if you bring the domain knowledge together with great partners like Kion and OHB, build the industrial foundation model together on a trustful way, we can scale it much faster than anybody else.
Great vision, which comes reality. We heard a lot about in the future, and the future, as a matter of fact, in these days, is nothing. Usually we say, see you next year at Hannover Messe, and we'd love to hear about some success facts you might drop here. The future in that case now is 3, 4, 6 months, the longest probably. What are your expectations in regards of what do you want to have achieved by then, Rob?
You know, it's a little bit like Peter is talking about the future being unevenly distributed. Part of it's absolutely right now. And the faster we create together, the faster we realize it. Something that we learned through our partnership with NVIDIA that I think has been contagious for all the great companies working with NVIDIA is getting on a innovation cycle where every 2 or 3 months there's a special event. There's a CES in Vegas. There's the Hanover show. There's a GTC in California. There's a show in China. We're always accelerating the innovation in order to be able to, multiple times in a year, have a very substantial and realized gain in innovation that brings it to a point where it can bring value to our customers. And so it's a very, very rapid cycle time. And the future is, it's a big treadmill, and we're just running all very fast on it together.
As long as we keep the fitness program, we definitely will be up for all the challenges being ahead of us.
Right.
Christina, one more thing. You represent the aerospace industry, which this year at Hannover Messe is present for the very, very first time, given those, well, ecological, economical situations. Have you been around in Hall 26? This is where this topic is being presented. Have you kind of envisioned what's happening there? And is there some ideas you want to carry home from Hanover?
Oh, definitely. You know, I think all of us are sort of having sort of equal challenges. So one, why also this partnership is so interesting and relevant is that the level of industrialization, so start to produce for, I wouldn't say mass, okay, but for volume, for high volume, and also having systems actually which during lifetime needs to be innovated because there's so much competition out there and innovation. But once you have certain assets flying around in deep space, it's not that easy to adapt those. And you have also quite some capex out there, right? So it's so fundamental to have those systems designed for flexibility and being software defined and AI capable. And I think this is a sort of thread I see for all the space and aerospace companies having this new, let's say, innovation leap to master.
All right. Thank you so much. Great insights, great perspectives. And I guess, Peter, innovation, that truly is your topic, so we're going to tick that as well. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, for joining up with Siemens. We're really proud and honored that you teamed up and looking forward to more joint projects and outcomes. Thank you so much.